I've been following the local community affairs within the Khoja world and the international affairs. And it is sad to see that we have so many divisions and we have so many feuds. If we could just be enlightened from the example of the Blessed Prophet and the progeny of the Prophet, and maybe think how we should fare and think of the future and where we need to be, we will see that feuds and divisions do not assist the community as a whole. Imam Ali Salamullah alayhi on his deathbed said to his sons Al-Hasan Al-Hussein, he said, Allah Allah fi nadmi amrikum wa silah dhata baynikum. He said, for the sake of God, organize your affairs and reconcile your differences. He said, because reconciliation of differences is better than years of worship of God. On the other hand, the Quran says that a form of chastisement of God is bringing about divisions within your ranks and causing you to taste the wrath of each other. In another place, Allah says in the Quran, and I made them destroy themselves with their own hands as a form of punishment. At times, it is not really important who takes the leadership or what project is being built. What is important is the unity of the community and working together for a better future. It is only when we lose sight of the future that we become so engulfed in the present, not knowing the very future for which we are trying to work, we are destroying it altogether. For me, it does not make sense that in the community where people are disenchanted, where voters are not coming out to vote, where the youths are leaving the mosques, it does not make sense to me that people should fight over leadership. Because the very leadership for which they fight will be an empty leadership because they will have no youths for the future. In the fight that they have, in which they all feel that they need to do the right thing, they're losing the very community. Imam Ali Salamullah alayhi historically was the most eligible and the righteous head of the Muslim community, undeniably, most qualified, most eligible, to the extent that the Prophet said that he is the Mawla after me, in a semi-democratic sort of a fashion, that he took the right for himself to designate Imam Ali. However, when Imam Ali saw that the community will be divided, he left it. He said it is better for the community to be united. He said, if I were to fight for my right, the very community for whose sake I will fight will be devastated. Well, what's the point? If indeed we are caring parents for the community, we will not fight. We will be united. It doesn't really matter who heads the community. The constitution should be strong enough to bring about assurances that the right thing will be done and there will be no exploitation. It doesn't make much difference which project we build now. This many £1 million or this many £1 million or in one place or another place. It needs to be built in order to safeguard the community. If truly we were people endowed with insight, wisdom, foresight, we would take stock of whatever we are doing and learn to work together with each other. And that is the way to go forward. It is really not of importance looking at the future, who is the leader right now of the community. The one who has won, give him the leadership. What's the big deal? If the project has been voted for, go and build it. Be together, be one, and work for the future. Let the youths not be disenchanted. Let the people not feel that the institution has no value. The other thing they will do is, by abandoning the mosque, they will abandon the religion as a whole. This is how much we stand to lose. I want to make a little point here. As people who have their own ethnicities, sect and religion, we feel that we know the right and the truth, and sometimes we feel very wronged. And in that feeling of being very wronged, we want to put it right, and we feel we are oppressed. But pause for a moment. Pause for a moment. If we can think of ourselves beyond ethnicities, beyond sects, beyond cultures and religions, then we will find ourselves one of the human family. And there we will see that our human family is suffering. And therefore, with foresight and wisdom, we will respond to the crisis within the human family and try and bring about the best outcome from our human family. If we could leave all those things to one side and say that the human family has to come to a pedestal of maturity where they are worthy of being known as the vicegerents and the stewards of God. I'm trying to make a point here that often we say that the people like the Zionists and they need to be destroyed, but I'm just saying, think about this. By killing people, we are not going to stop the unjust trend that is within humanity. That is a part of humanity. If we don't find it in the form of the Zionists, according to the Muslims, then we will find it in the form of the ISIS. One or the other, we will find it because it is deep within humanity, that trait. If we can become parental, we will say our children and our family is suffering because of their inability to control their own arrogance, their own propensity to do injustice, and that is what needs to be addressed in actual fact. Not doing away with a particular group of people or a particular sect or doing right at this very moment, but there is a greater problem at hand that needs to be addressed. I'm going to finish with a particular note, and I would like us to take it seriously. When I read the literature on the Holocaust survivors, and when you see what they've gone through, you can understand why they are thinking the way they are thinking. The tortures that they went through, the way they were dehumanized. If we were to read those literatures of people who have been through that and have survived, for us it's a strange place. We say, well, how can they be so misguided? How can they kill poor little children? How can they do this? How can they do that? Yes? But if we were to look at the background and you say, okay, their paranoia, even though whatever they're doing is unjust and wrong and unrighteous, I agree. But why should anybody be doing that? That's the question. Why should anybody be so unjust, inhumane? When we read this literature, you can say, well, you know what, I have a better understanding now. And as opposed to saying, you're wrong and you can't do this and putting them to death, the approach should be, look, we're very sympathetic and we empathize with what you've been through. But it's not like that now. It's a bit different. And maybe you're doing the same thing to others that was done to you. Because when a person has been abused, they grow up to become abusers. And I don't want to offend any religious faith community or any nation by saying that they're abusers and whatnot. I'm talking about a general principle of life. When people are abused earlier on in life, they turn out to be abusers as well. As opposed to condemnation, maybe what is required is understanding and looking forward and trying to remedy the situation in the best way possible. If we can apply these principles and think of the eventual end of humanity, maybe life at present becomes much, much better, harmonious, and we can put in those things in place that can assure a better end. Anyway, that is our hope and that is our prayer. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Forgive all those who have gone before us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala feed all those who are hungry, shelter all those who are without shelter. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring peace and well-being to this world of ours. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hasten the reappearance of our beloved Imam and grant us the grand boon of serving humanity in His divine presence. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursaleen wa alihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala Muhammadin al-Mustafa wa ala aliyin al-Murtada wa ala Fatimah al-Zahra وعلى الحسن المجتبى والحسين الشهيد بكربلاء وعلى علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي وحجة الله بن الحسن القائم المهدي المنتظر